We just have today on the continent less than 1% of the global investment in VC in the world. Is it possible that a continent of 1.3 billion people, that by the end of the century will be 4 billion and 40% of the population, and is absolutely essential for the future of humanity but also of climate, only receives 1% of the global VC funding allocation? No.
We contribute very little to the actual climate issue, despite the fact that we are impacted very highly. Just 2 to 3% of carbon emissions actually come from the continent of Africa.
You're listening to Blue Radio, bringing the vibe.
According to Forbes Africa, less than 1% of global venture capital finds its way into Africa. This is a huge problem that is affecting the construction of startups and the climate tech ecosystem in Africa. But all that is about to change thanks to Africarena, who have hosted the Nairobi Africa Climate Summit. During this summit, more than 20 startups pitched the innovative ideas that are helping to fight climate change and tackle effects of global greenhouse gases in Africa.
So Monsapo is a clean tech startup. We provide automated and fully remote monitored machines that recycle used cooking oil into 5 natural cleaning products right at the source at the client facility. We want to work mainly with hotels and restaurants, but also commercial kitchens. And we want to partner with NGOs to provide this machine for refugee camps to impact more than 200,000 people.
I'm a co-founder in Circularity Space. We are basically a tech company that leverages the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoTs, whereby we come up with circular solutions that drive the circular economy. So on your question about the circular economy is the whole concept of ensuring that you give value to the waste, kind of what people term as waste is actually a resource, not a waste.
TechWeek proved to be a game changer for startups, investors, partners, and ecosystem builders. We therefore ask, what tools does Africarena use to best prepare these startups for such events?
There are 2 aspects of the program when it comes to the support of the startups. There is the in-person support through the series of events that we do. So going to countries like this one, having an event per sector, and then say, hey, we are coming to Kenya, we are doing a climate tech focus event, come and meet investors in person at the event and so on.
So I think one of the program we're running under our accelerator called Africa which is a sister organization to Africarena, is a program of soft landing Korean startups into the South African and Kenyan market. Africarena also does scale-up program for African startup outside of Africa. Okay, so this is how we build a two-way bridge.
But then there is also the digital part, the online part of the support that we give, which is through our app that is called Wired. We basically create a portal for them. It's called the Investor Portal, whereby the startups are able to showcase their data, their pitch deck, and also their pitch video, right? All in one platform. And then they are able to show that to potential investors through the platform.
When you look at climate solution, the blending of things, whether they're between a Korean startup and a Kenyan startup, or between a South African startup and a Tunisian startup, brings a lot of value. And I think it's just like an accelerator to the innovation, and it's just a stimulation for the founder.
A lot of the technology is still being super innovative, right? So if you're talking about direct carbon capture, if you're talking about building new animal proteins, if you're talking about algorithms to optimize a grid, a lot of this tech is still not built. So you have to be super innovative in how to think about designing climate solutions. And then anywhere in the world, but specifically Africa, you have to be incredibly innovative about how to deliver that solution. So the business models are still very innovative as well. So what I find so interesting about climate tech, and why I think we're trying to bring people together and help them understand how innovative it is.
in the success of startups is venture capital. The men and women who unlock doors of opportunity, services, and investment into startups. More importantly, what do they seek in startups before they do invest?
The main case is that you're providing value to your customers. And there's many ways to measure it. The easiest way is just how much money is being made, but it's not the only way.
Promising ideas or startups with grant funding, and KCV's role in that process is to come and uptake the businesses and then now prepare them for commercial capital.
One of the things we have done with Africarena here is support in just showcasing the investment opportunities that are available through our various social media platforms, so just amplifying visibility for not just for the conference but also for the startups that are pitching here, as well as bringing along our investors who are part of the membership to be able to connect with these startups.
From an investor perspective, being able to collaborate with the startups, with other investors, even within the investor universe, are you offering debt or equity or grants or services?
As the curtains close in Nairobi, the Africa Climate Tech Week has once again shown why it is a premier event for startups, investors, ecosystem builders, and anyone who is passionate about building solutions for Africa and the world. The question therefore is, what were the key takeaways from the 2024 Africarena Africa Climate Tech Week?
Africarena is a platform of opportunity, so market access, capital, but we're also building bridges between ecosystems, and the bridges works both ways.
What we like about what they do is that they bring people together, they bring investors together, they bring ecosystem builders like yourselves, and also the startups who are really the stars of the day. So it's been a really good time being here, sitting on a panel, being a judge, giving feedback to founders.
So some of the biggest takeaways are, one, that we need to create diverse capital to go into climate tech startups because it's an important issue and will continue to affect us disproportionately. Secondly, kind of working on business models and figuring out how to create more sustainable business models across this ecosystem is important for us to impact climate, but also for the participation of corporates and governments and DFIs in terms of making sure that startups that don't fit the venture capital model can still get capital because it's much needed solution.
So I think that we startup have seen a lot of problems, and we are the innovators that comes here and thought, hey, I have a solution for this. Could it be scalable? Could it be the right time for me to do it? Because we came up with hundreds of ideas, but if we don't find market for it, it will faint, right?